This is Covering the Spread, part of the FanDuel Podcast Network.
Week 3 slates may not have the most interesting games across the board, but there are some that are going to play pretty big roles, I think, later on this year. Rams-Eagles could be for some playoff positioning. Broncos and Chargers, maybe. AFC West battle with the Chiefs faltering a little bit. So some fun games on the docket for sure. Our job for today is to break down those key games in the Week 3 slate, letting you know where we see some value at FanDuel Sportsbook by talking to Minty Bets and getting her read on Week 3's biggest games. Welcome on into Covering the Spread, a FanDuel Research podcast. My name is JimSannes. I am a managing editor for FanDuel Research, joined here as mentioned by Minty Bets. You can find her on X, Instagram, and TikTok at Minty Bets. Check out her work on the FanDuel socials as well. Minty, we are on to week number 3. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. I cannot believe it is week 3 already. I feel like, even though we get the normal Thursday, Sunday, Monday games, I feel like we've watched a lot of football and consumed a lot of football. So I'm really excited that it's week 3.
Like we had the Friday game in week 1. Mm-hmm. We had the doubleheader this past Monday. So like there have been more island games. And I feel like those always just like, I don't know. I get like too excited during them and I get like drained. So by the time we get to Tuesday, I don't know about you, but I am toast by then.
Yeah, I am off social media on Tuesday. Yes. I am done. I am like sleeping.
That's so healthy. Good for you. Okay.
We need a reset.
Okay. So I'm going to try to emulate that this week. No Twitter Tuesdays. And we're going to try to get in that groove on my end as well. I don't know if I can avoid Instagram Reels because those are like my brain off kind of thing. But, we'll at least avoid Twitter for one day on Tuesdays. We are not going to avoid the fun games for week number 3, though. Because, again, we got some under the radar kind of cool games. I didn't even mention fun NFC West battle between the Cardinals and the Niners, two teams that have gotten off to weird but good starts, I guess, so far. So we'll dig in and see what Minty is seeing for these games and her favorite bets for week number 3. But first, a reminder to make sure you're subscribed to Covering the Spread wherever you get your podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, you name it, you can find us there. If you like what you hear, leave us a 5-star rating and review our college football week 4 show with Austin Swaim is already up. Tomorrow, Annie Nader will join me and break down her thoughts on the best player props for NFL week number 3 as well. Those are both on the Covering the Spread podcast feed, but also on the FanDuel Football Betting YouTube page. Subscribe there and leave us a thumbs up. We appreciate those of you watching on YouTube as always. FanDuel's getting you ready for kickoff with an offer you won't want to miss. New customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet $5, and if it wins, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use all across the app. You can build parlays, bet player props, ride the live lines, whatever your style, FanDuel has you covered. The NFL season is finally here. The only question is, are you ready to play? Must be 21 plus and present in select states. For Kansas, in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino, or 18 plus and present in DC, Kentucky, or Wyoming. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit fanduel.com/RG. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut. Visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. Now, Minty, let's start things off by talking about teams that have gotten upgrades for you so far this year. We've gotten a lot of downgrades based on mostly quarterback injuries or underperforming teams, but in your eyes, which teams have gotten the biggest upgrades for you through 2 weeks?
Okay. I don't know if it's a popular opinion or unpopular opinion, but I'm going to go with the Indianapolis Colts because I'm going to be talking about Daniel Jones for the rest of the season. I am so happy he's flourished since leaving the Giants. He leads the league in yards per pass attempt. He's efficient. He's confident. And most importantly, the team around him is clicking with him so well. I also read that the Colts are the first team in the NFL or in NFL history to start a season by scoring on 10 straight possessions. Like, how insane is that? And they also haven't punted, right? In a single time through these 2 games. That's insane. So yeah, the Colts got a big upgrade with Daniel Jones. And so did his former team, the New York Giants, by getting Russell Wilson. And I know a lot of people have opinions on Russell Wilson, but I don't care if the Giants are 0-2 because so are the Chiefs. The Giants should have won that game last week against Dallas, and Russ put on one of the most memorable performances of week 2. And to top it all off, he's got Malik Neighbors at his disposal. And per FanDuel, Neighbors is first in receiving yards, targets, 20-yard receptions, and more. And so on. So Neighbors was already having like a star so far, and having Russ really elevated his game and allowed both of them to shine. So my answer would be the Colts, and I think the Giants.
And I think the Giants one is important because it's easy to upgrade the teams that have had good results. It's harder to see the upgrades when the results are not there yet. And the Giants, like you said, they are 0-2, but they're playing better football. It's not just Neighbors. Honestly, I think that Wan'Dale Robinson is playing really well too. And we've seen this with Brian Daboll before. Back in 2022 or whatever year it was when they went to the playoffs, Daniel Jones played really well. So I think that like in both those teams, Brian Daboll and Shane Steichen, you got two play callers who have proven with Gardner Minshew, with Steichen, and with Daniel Jones with Daboll, they can squeeze a lot out of a little. And that's impactful to me. You give them competency. It doesn't need to be amazing. You give them competent quarterback play and skill players. They can get something out of it. And we've seen that happen through 2 weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. And then records don't really equate to, upgrades and results. Individual player stats and numbers is more important. And we've seen Daniel Jones do well on the Giants. It just toxic fan base,
Yes, it was a rough time for them, sure. And honestly, the contract was also a big detriment, but he's not playing on that contract anymore. He is a lower salaried quarterback, and you can do a lot when you're paying that little a quarterback. So it's been fun to see what they've done through 2 weeks, and they're playing the Titans this week. So first game outdoors for them. We'll see what they can do in that one. Let's take a look at some of the biggest games across week number 3 now, Minty. Begin with a game that I'm honestly surprised is not an afternoon game. It is the Rams and the Eagles. This game is actually a 1 p.m. Eastern game for some reason, because it's a rematch of a playoff game last year that was pretty fun, I thought. Right now, FanDuel Sportsbook, the Eagles favored by 3.5, and the total in this game is 44.5. And this spread is pretty tight because the Rams have looked really good in 2 games with Devontae Adams. So now they're facing the Eagles. Can they do enough to cover here, Minty, or do the Eagles keep on rolling once again?
Man, laying 3.5 points is not an ideal number, right? At least for a favorite. It's not something I would bet, even if it is the Eagles. The Rams, like you mentioned, they're 2-0 so far this season. Their defense is top 5 in pass EPA allowed. And yeah, it's come against weaker opponents like the Texans and the Titans, but looks like the market still respects them. Line opened at 4.5, I believe, and it's gotten steamed down a bit. Devontae Adams, Puka Nacua, they are an elite combo for Matthew Stafford, and it only takes a handful of explosive plays to keep up with Philly. And as you alluded to earlier, the Rams lost to the Eagles in the playoffs last year, and this is a situational spot where we could see a revenge type game. So I don't like betting against the Eagles, but I feel there may be more value taking the Rams plus the points. I don't know if I'm getting to the window with this one. I may look at some props, but I'm leaning Rams plus the points here.
And it's a heavy 3.5 too. So it's not even that it's gone from 4.5 to 3.5, as you said. It also might get to 3, frankly, based on the fact that it's minus 118 on the plus 3.5. I think it's more likely to get to 3 than it is to go back out to 4 or 4.5 based on what we're seeing right there. So the market is buying into the Rams, but I also think there might be still some skepticism around the Eagles. Kevin Patullo, their new OC, I haven't heard the most amazing things from public sentiment about him so far. So maybe it's kind of fading that. When I look at my schedule adjusted numbers through 2 weeks, Eagles have not been amazing. And part of that's because the Giants tore up the Cowboys, which was the Eagles week 1 opponent. It's some flukiness, that's kind of how it goes, but they haven't blown my doors off yet. Right. So is that playing into your thoughts here on taking the points of the Rams too? Is kind of you want to see it with the Eagles a bit more?
Yes. And, I was saying that all last year is Philly's not blowing my mind. I'm just I'm not convinced, but hey, they made it all the way and they won it all. But yeah, it's kind of the same feeling this year. It's they're not wowing us. We know Saquon Barkley can do what he does. Jalen Hurts can do what he does. But I think people are just also undervaluing the Eagles as well and underestimating them. So we'll just have to see. I think this one will be a true test for both sides.
It very much will, and I am very much looking forward to enjoying it. Again, that early window on Sunday. Let's talk about a huge game in the AFC West right now. That is the Denver Broncos heading to Los Angeles to take on the Chargers. Right now, FanDuel Sportsbook, Chargers favored by 2.5, and the total in this game is at 45.5. Minty, I got no bet in this game. I had the Chargers favored by 2.3. I've got the total 45.5. So I've got no edge in this game. So I got to ask you, Justin Herbert looking really good so far, but they're now facing a stellar Broncos defense. So which bets stand out to you in this one?
Yeah, you are spot on, Jim, with with your adjustments. To be honest, I like the Chargers here. They've got the momentum, the home advantage, and possibly even the defensive edge, even without Khalil Mack. I mean, Denver has played close games through these 2 weeks, and they displayed struggles against the pass and the run last week against Indy. But a bet I like even more and have been playing in select matchups would probably be the first half under, although the Chargers have scored consistently in each of their games against division rivals. Denver can absolutely adjust and show improvements defensively early in the game. So I think last time I checked was 23.5. I may go under, haven't fired on it yet, but yeah, I'm loving a slow start here in a divisional matchup.
Yeah, that number is still at 23.5, as you alluded to. The under is minus 125. And I think that with the Chargers, it's really interesting to watch what they've been doing so far. You talked about how you kind of want to buy into them. You're liking what you're seeing with them at the minus 2.5. I think the favorite thing that I've seen is that they're willing to adapt. Like we came into the tenure of Jim Harbaugh and Greg Roman saying, okay, they're going to have this like ground and pound approach, similar to how Harbaugh had at Michigan, had at Stanford, had with the Niners and stuff like that. But they saw their personnel was better suited to be an aerial, like kind of all out attack. And they've leaned into that. Both last year, like people think it's new this year. It happened last year too. Even when Justin Herbert had like plantar fascia, he had a high ankle sprain, they were slinging it. And they've been doing that again this year. And like, if you've got Justin freaking Herbert with 3 receivers who are playing really well, why not? Mm-hmm. So maybe they won't get to a first half over here, but I think the overall buying into this like Chargers team, I get it. If I were to say, okay, if you were to force me to bet this game, I would take the Chargers. I think that if my model were undervaluing anybody in this game, it'd be the Chargers offense. So I think that's where I would want to lean as well, is like, I think that I like their approach, and that does matter quite a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. And hey, seeing the Chargers perform against my Raiders, I'm not doubting Justin Herbert anymore.
Yeah, that was tough. That was a tough game for sure. The defense played great against Geno too. So there was that as well. Like you said, no Khalil Mack here, but still playing very well in that game. Minty eyeing though the first half under 23.5, minus 125 for the Chargers and the Broncos. Let's talk now about our final game for Sunday. This one is a little bit up in the air still. Still don't really know who's going to start at quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers. And as a result, right now, FanDuel Sportsbook, this spread is sitting at 2.5. That's actually extended from where it was earlier on this week, but the total is 44.5. The reason we don't know who's going to start a quarterback here is because, I guess to my surprise, Brock Purdy practiced Wednesday, practicing again on Thursday. I didn't think that was going to happen. So what's your read on this Niners team, given the uncertainty at quarterback and the fact that, surprisingly, Purdy may actually play in this game?
Yeah, I am shocked. This is breaking news to me because I'm definitely not touching this game. The Niners, just in general, are such a toss-up for me. And the Cardinals, 2-0 against the Saints and Panthers. So not saying too much there. It's such a small sample size. We can't really get a read on the Cardinals. I lean San Francisco to win and cover. If Mac Jones were to start, I would not be mad. I mean, he was productive in his last game and threw for 3 touchdowns, no picks again against the Saints last week. But yeah, I mean, their ground game is still underperforming, but I don't believe they'll need to use it entering week 3 against Arizona. This is definitely not a game I'm passionate about, and I can see this one being a shootout. I usually like to take the Cardinals as division dogs, but I may have to sit this one out because I just don't know.
Yeah, and it's hard to know with Kyle Shanahan. He is impossible to read.
Yeah.
Some may say he lies. I don't know. Just, some may say that. I'm not saying that necessarily. But last week he said 2 to 5 weeks for Brock Purdy. It's like, okay, cool. I can like ignore this, put in Mac Jones this week. When I do that, I got the Cardinals a slight favorite. So it's like, there's that. And then it's like, oh, Brock Purdy might play, or maybe he'll be an emergency number 2 quarterback. So we might not even know who's starting when inactives come out on Sunday. I hate that. That's not fun at all, Kyle. So that's annoying, frankly, across the board. And if I do put Brock Purdy in there, to your point, you mentioned this could be a higher scoring game. I've got this total at 50. If I have Brock Purdy starting, it's at 46 right now for me with Mac Jones in there. So like maybe I could just take the over now, try to get ahead of that as a potential way to buy into, okay, even if Purdy does not go, it's still a situation where I can buy into the possibility for him to ignite this offense. So I'm eyeing the over right now. It's at minus 120 over 44.5, but it sounds like you also do think we could see some offense in this game.
Yeah, absolutely. If I were to bet this game, it would absolutely be the over, whether it's Mac Jones or Brock Purdy. And I think that's a very smart way to, if you were going to bet this game, to get ahead of it before they announce if Brock Purdy is going to start or not. And hey, if you're a fantasy manager and you've got Brock, like, I'm so sorry you won't know until like pretty much right before kickoff. So
I have Brock Purdy, Jaden Daniels, and JJ McCarthy.
There's no way that's true. Really?
It's a super flex dynasty league. Luckily, it's a best ball league, so I don't have to care. Like, it doesn't matter who plays. I can't do anything about it. I can't pick up waivers. I can't make trades until week 5. So it's like, I didn't have to worry about it. But like, I've cursed everyone. They're all done. And it's all my fault, I feel like, at this point.
Oh my God. Good thing you can't draft anymore and hurt anymore.
Correct. I cannot harm anybody else. And for that, we can all be grateful. But I am the over here for the Niners and Cardinals. And from my dynasty team's perspective, let's get Brock Purdy in there. Hopefully he is fully healthy. Okay, Minty, that is your read on the 3 biggest games across this week. But I want to open up the board now for you. Across the entirety of NFL week number 3, what are your favorite bets for this week?
Well, I'm going to start by saying that I feel like there's a lot of games on the board this week that are just not bettable, because of all the injuries. And once we enter week 3, a lot of recency bias starts to kick in. We bet based off of who looked good versus who looked bad just last week. And that's really not how good or bad these teams are, right? On top of that, backup quarterbacks, some who are still questionable and some who are good to go, but are they really 100% good to go? And like we talked about earlier before the show started, Raiders, I'll never root for again after that Monday night performance against the Chargers. They'll never get a first down again. The Texans are now on my no bet list after I bet them to win against the Bucks, and you are on the other side. So congratulations. But that being said, I do like the Falcons minus 5.5 against the Panthers. They look great on both sides of the ball and against a very lost Carolina team. I also like the Colts minus 4.5 against the Titans for the same reason. But a bet that I am going to actually get to the window to is going to be the over 50.5 for the Cowboys and Bears. I know it is a very high total, but these two have kind of poor scoring defense so far through 2 weeks. So I'm betting we see a lot of offense here in the Cowboys-Bears matchup.
Yeah, that total right now, 50.5. Over is minus 110. We've seen this total kind of bounce around a bit throughout this week where it was, I think 49.5, got that up, got to 51, then came back down to 50.5. So it sounds like it will settle in right around there. And this game features 2 like hideous defenses. So let me just like read you something really quick here. I have like numbers that I look at, like, early down passing efficiency. And last year, Lamar Jackson led the league in early down passing efficiency, 0.29 expected points per dropback on early downs through the air. Mm-hmm. Quarterbacks facing the Bears this year in early downs are at 0.71.
Oh my God.
0.71. They've added almost a full expected point per dropback every time they drop back on early down against the Bears. And like the Cowboys have looked good. I know they didn't win against the Eagles, but I thought Dak played really, really well in that game. Yeah. And that was impressive. Mm-hmm. They obviously put up a ton of points against the Giants last week. They do go outside. It is outdoors. It is windy. And that's part of why my model has this total lower is like the wind is concerning. But like the way that Cowboys offense has looked, that does scare me quite a bit here.
Yeah. There's no doubt. And I am a very big Cowboys hater. So yeah, the Cowboys do look good. And I was actually really impressed with them that first week and against the Eagles. So yeah, I'm liking this total and hopefully it does not hurt me in the end.
I will also mention, you said that the Texans are on your never again list, and I did bet against them last week. Mm-hmm. I bet on them this week, and the number immediately moved against me, like within it was very fast after I have them at like even money. It went out to a plus 124. It's back down to plus 106. So at least there's that. So it feels like that's another game. You're talking about like games that we can't get a read on. It seems like the market can't really get a firm read on Jags Texans.
Yeah, I've seen the lines move a little bit, and I'm just like a little confused where it's steaming to. And then by kickoff, I feel like it could be totally different where it settles. So
it could go anywhere. I don't know. I'm just going to like ignore it until Sunday because I'm not going to bet it again. I'm just going to ignore it. It's in someone else's hands right now.
Yeah, and we're going to close our eyes and pray now.
Whatever happens, happens. Control what I can control, and I cannot control what that Texans offensive line is going to do, as you know, on a week-to-week basis.
Yes.
That is all that we have here for today on Covering the Spread. I want to give a big thank you once again to Minty for swinging by and breaking down her thoughts on this full Week 3 slate. Check out Minty on X, Instagram, and TikTok at MintyBets. Check her out on the FanDuel socials as well. Minty, I appreciate the time once again. Good luck to you with your bets in week number 3. Enjoy the Thursday night game tonight. We'll talk to you once again in the very near future.
Thank you so much. Good luck.
Alrighty. Again, Minty is on X, Instagram, and TikTok at MintyBets. I'm on X and Blue Sky at JimSannes and on Threads at Jim.Sannes. You can find FanDuel Research on X at FanDuel Research. Big thank you to our YouTube producer, Justin Lane, for his work in the video side of things. Thank you, Justin, as always. And thank you to everyone for tuning in. We'll talk again tomorrow, breaking down our top props for week number 3 with Andy Nader. This has been Covering the Spread, a FanDuel Research podcast.